viewers, welcome back to Amazing Animals Inc. Today we're going to talk all about some of my favorite animals, snakes. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. This is our Florida pine snake. Oh, he's an angry one. He is hissing if you can hear him. I just woke him up. Florida pine snakes live in the pine flatwoods, and they actually are known to climb trees. They're really good climbers. Now, there are 33 native snake species to Kentucky. Only 4 of them are venomous. All of the animals that we're showing you here today are constrictors, meaning they're non-venomous. Most people are a little bit afraid of snakes, and that's okay to have a healthy fear of them, but there's no reason to kill a snake in the wild. Snakes are really important to the ecosystem, and they play a vital role in maintaining rodent populations. We don't want to be overrun by rats. So if you ever see a snake and you're really worried about it, you do not have to kill it. Just turn around and walk away. A snake will not chase you. It does not come after you. It is way more afraid of you than you are of it. Trust me, you're really big and a snake's really small on the ground. So if you ever see a snake, walk away from it. Don't try to kill it. Don't try to pick it up, and you will be A-okay. So this is Blue, and Blue is our newest animal ambassador here at Amazing Animals, and Blue is a very special snake. Blue is an eastern indigo, and these guys are threatened in the wild. There's a couple different species of indigos throughout the world, and Texas has a really big Texas indigo. Here in Florida and Georgia, we have the eastern indigo. Really cool species of snake, identified by being almost all black with a really beautiful red belly. And another really cool constrictor, but this guy isn't really a constrictor. These guys have really big teeth, and they live in burrows and holes in the ground, usually gopher tortoise burrows. That's why gopher tortoises are so important. And they will eat a rodent, but they won't wrap all around it because they're confined in a little burrow. So they'll actually use their strong jaws, grab something and kill it just by squeezing it or pushing it against the wall of a den, and then they'll swallow it whole. There's a big difference between poison and venom. A lot of people say, is that snake poisonous? There's no such thing as a snake being poisonous unless you plan on eating it. Venom is injected through fangs, which is how snakes inject venom. Poison is eaten. So people can be poisoned. You can eat a frog. That's why they're called poison dart frogs. They're only poisonous if you ingest them. So again, venom is injected, so all snakes are venomous if they're venomous, and poison is ingested. So unless you plan on eating a snake, you're not going to be poisoned by a snake. What a beautiful guy this is.
All right, so with me I have Glades, who is our Burmese python. Burmese pythons are a snake that are native to Asia, Burma, Asia to be exact, and they are the 3rd largest snake in the world. So Glades here is only about 2 years old. They can live 20 to 30 years and get about 18 feet long. They can also get over 100 pounds, and Burmese pythons are a constrictor, so that is solid muscle. She is a very strong snake. She will be growing quite quickly here in the next few years, and crazy to think that this snake, who she's probably about 4 feet long right now, will be 18 feet. So these guys are going to eat a variety of things, including rodents, birds, and even bigger mammals. Now Glades here has a pretty interesting story. We are located down in Florida, and in the Everglades, these guys have actually gotten out due to humans. So they are not native to the Florida Everglades, but they are loving the ecosystem here. In Florida, it's warm, the Everglades are nice and swampy, and they have a lot of those food items. So unfortunately, they're doing very well, they're growing, they're reproducing, and Glades here was actually found last year as a baby in the Everglades. Brian found her, and in Florida, you're not allowed to have them as a pet. Anywhere else in the country you can because it gets too cold. They wouldn't survive out in the wilds, but in Florida they are. So we were able to collect her and keep her because we have permits to have her. And then we can educate all of you guys all about this amazing species, the issues that they're facing here in Florida, and what they're like in the wild in Asia. So she's got a beautiful color pattern that helps her camouflage very nicely. And this tongue, she's looking at me, that sticks out, and she can actually smell with her tongue. So pretty unique features that snakes have to help them adapt since they don't have arms and legs to help them get around. We just love snakes, and we hope you guys learn to love them as well here.
So this is one of my favorite snakes. This is a green tree python, and they are arboreal, meaning they live way up in the trees. And this is a snake that is native to Papua New Guinea, right north of Australia. And there's lots of different islands, and each island has a different species of green tree python that's endemic to it. This particular girl is from the island of Biak. Now this snake is very cool. When it's arboreal, living up in the trees, it mainly eats birds, and they are so fast and such good hunters that they'll even eat a bird in mid-flight, which is super cool. Now she's curled up in that S shape right there, ready to strike at the camera. She's like, I don't know about this camera. The tip of her tail here has a little bit of blue on it. It's darker than the rest of her body. And that's called a lure. When she's in the tree, she'll be curled up in a beautiful V shape, and she'll have her, sorry big girl, she'll have her tail sticking out, and she'll wiggle it around, and it looks like a worm up in a tree. And that's what invites birds to come swoop in and try to eat it, not realizing that there's a big snake attached to it.
All right, so this is Red, and she is a red-tailed boa constrictor. Now this type of snake is native to South America, and she is another constrictor, so she's all muscle, and she is about 3 years old. They can actually get about 6 to 12 feet full grown as well, so she's still got some growing to do. Another amazing snake that we have here, and I like to talk about counter shading with these guys because they have this beautiful color pattern, and what they do is they can camouflage really well with that. Their top is all dark, and that helps them blend in with the bark of the trees that they're going to live up in. So if a bird of prey or something were to fly over those trees, she's going to blend in perfectly. Now if you look at her belly, it's actually a lot lighter, and that is to help them blend in with the sky. So let's say a bigger cat is on the ground looking up into the trees. They are going to be able to blend in with that sky, almost like the light in our ceiling, and camouflage that way. So that type of camouflage is called counter shading. It's a great defense mechanism for these guys, and a lot of animals actually have counter shading. You might notice some animals that are darker on top and lighter on the bottom. That is exactly why. So she's going to curl up in those treetops, kind of wait for her meal to come by, and just relax, sleep most of the day. These guys are a reptile, which means they are cold-blooded. They've got scales, these beautiful scales, and they lay eggs. Although boas are pretty unique, they do have eggs, but they do actually give live birth. And that's what we call ovoviviparous.
So this is Louise, and Louise is an ex-pet. She is just like Glade. She's a Burmese python, but she's an albino, so she lacks the pigment of any of the colors. And she's almost 10 feet long and weighs about 45 to 50 pounds. She's a big girl. Now, these guys, like Heidi was saying, are native to Asia, but unfortunately, due to Hurricane Andrew in 1994, took out a breeding facility of them, and hundreds of them escaped, and now there's thousands, even hundreds of thousands of them in the Everglades, eating all of our native wildlife here in Florida. In Florida, the biggest snake that lives here is only 6 feet long. When you introduce an 18-foot snake, that causes a big problem in the ecosystem. So, if you ever get a pet snake, if you ever buy one from a pet store, do your research. Know what you're getting into. It's really important that you never let any of your pets go in the wild. find a good rehabber or a really good rescue in Kentucky that you can bring any of your pets to if you can no longer care for them. You never ever want to release any of your exotic pets into the nature. Most of the time, the things you buy at the pet store are not native to where you're from. Thank you guys for watching our vlog today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot about our amazing snakes that we have here at the rescue, and snakes from all over the world. Tune in next week. We're going to talk all about our primate species that we have. Give Jessamine County Public Library System a follow. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like this video. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next week. Go out there, do something amazing.